What's up, YouTube? I'm going to go ahead and just do an entire set preview. I remember asking for entire set previews to R&D in the past, and they responded with, no, we are not going to spoil entire sets before they're released. But for some reason, they decided to do it for us this time, and I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm just sort of going to go through and talk about stuff. First off, Blade Barrier. Amazing card. It's a 3-cost Lyra, essentially, in spell form. Mono White will most certainly be using this card in 3s. It may be used in other things as well. The card is really good. Blinder Beetle Prime is probably going to be Halon's replacement as far as Mono Light Rush decks go. Then we have Kinda Junk. Mark of Haven, I think, can see play. There's been a bit of an argument on this on Dojo. But if you're playing the Haven deck, you're playing 3 copies of Haven, you're playing the triple Twilight Archons and all those blockers and stuff. The whole point of that deck is to get Haven on the field. So the option to get Haven on board 2 turns early, and then when it's summoned, you're going to get the draw and then play a blocker. I think that's going to make that card actually a really solid one of as far as Haven control decks go. Ravu the Indomitable. This creature wins all of its battles. Aside from Slayer, this thing is freaking Banff. I mean, at an 8 for 6,000, it's clunky, but it doesn't die. This card can be really fun. Replicator Patrol, this sort of gives us a new mechanic. When you play it, you can put another copy of it from your hand to the battle zone. So it's really a 2-for-1. But I think until we get actual more Storm Patrol support, I don't know if it's really going to be that worthwhile. Repulse, I expect to see play, especially because of things like Archon, where you want things to be tapped down. But if you have 2 or fewer shields, you get a new shield as well. So a new way to get shields, I like that. Centris is pretty much worthless. This guy is worthless. This guy is worthless. This guy is worthless. Cyberscant gives us the start for potential mono blue rush. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, it replicates. Just gives you bodies on field. I really like that. I also really like Deep Mind Probe. Look at the top 3, add 1 to hand, put 1 on top, put 1 on bottom. It allows you to filter through your next 3 turns, take what you want, set up your next turn, and get rid of what you don't need. I probably will try and play this card in a couple of different decks. One of the 2 complexes that are in the game, Finbar's Dreadnought, it's interesting. You get to draw 2 cards when you play it, and then it gives hovercraft effect to your entire field. Is it really worth playing? I don't think so, but it's something new. It's interesting. Phase Scout. Holy shit, mono blue rush. Well, technically anything that plays blue that you want to rush with. You could even put this in like Mega Bugs. But can't be blocked and makes another one of your creatures unblockable for the turn. Absolutely nuts as far as early game pushing. Recon Mission, I think, could see some play depending on various decks. At the end of your turn, you can draw for every tapped creature you control, so that's nice. On to Mono Darkness. There's not really a lot going on here. We've been spoiled Curse of Blackfeather before. You get to draw when they discard. I don't think a discard orientated deck's really going to be that great. Which, because your opponent, you're just going to run them out of resources to the point where all of your discard spells they don't have anything to discard, which makes I don't think this guy's going to be that great in the long run. Dagger Doll, it's a new evil toy, but right now it's not going to do anything for us. Doom Blast has been spoiled in the past. I think it's potentially going to see at least a copy or 2 in all Mono Dark decks. And because of Kalima and the Mark of Kalima, I think Mono Dark's going to be a big option for this format. Gaunt Boneweaver is okay, but again, Zombie's not a really well supported type right now. Potentially in the future it could be decent, but who knows. Ghost Bite, I mean, it's just another Shield Blast debuff, and probably another one that I'm not going to play, and I don't think many people will play at all. Maddening Whispers is pretty retarded. 5 for double discard. I like it. I've yet to really hash out how I think it's going to fit in curves of decks that I may play, and how often I'm going to have my opponent in a position where they have 2 cards for me to discard. Especially with my playstyle. I tend to starve them of resources and put them top decking as soon as possible. So a card like this, I don't think it suits me very well, but it does have potential. The Mark of Klima will see 100% play, probably in threes in every mono dark deck. And even in a lot of the dual color decks, it'll probably see at least maybe even a 2 of for the ability to drop that free Kalima or to just force things that die. We get a new Chimera, whoop-de-doo. The mono red section of the set is pretty Terabad. A 3/3 vanilla Dracon, a horrible evolution. Horrible in the fact that 5-drop for the red decks is not worth it. I mean, yeah, you can pull back your 1-drop bait to then play something else later. Keep it safe. If you're sitting at 6 mana, I mean, you're able to keep it safe from things your opponent does on their turn. But the deck's just not going to play it. Plus 2,000 power and attack untapped. Okay. Not that spectacular. Continuing on to more and more things that are not spectacular. We have another complex, the Skycrusher Volcano Ship. It can attack untapped creatures, which I like, but it's a 9 for 8,000 with no type support. At least yet. I mean, they're supers, so maybe we'll get more of this complex support stuff later. When it wins a battle, you can choose another of your creatures, and it can attack untapped creatures. That's nice, but again, it's a card I don't think is going to see any play. Sky Talon Harrier. When it attacks, it gives something else fast attack. That's not bad, but I don't really expect to see much of it at all. And then a pretty worthless Berserker. Almost even worse, I think, than the mono red sections, the mono green section. Dawn Giant, a 7 for 6k. When it attacks, you can reveal the top card. If it's a monster, it goes to 12,000 power or Triple Breaker, and then that card goes to the bottom of the deck. Really not worth it, I don't think. Maybe in the future if we get a lot of Colossus support, but right now, definitely no. Headstrong Wanderer is going to replace... totally having a brain fart here. The not Razorhide 3-drop Beastkin thing for that deck. Even though that deck doesn't see a lot of play. It's not bad. It works with Starseed Squadron as far as giving boost go to push things into Double Breaker status. So we'll see how this may see play in those Leap of Faith decks, just for that reason. Jarbala, I like the art, but it's just a vanilla. Monsterfy, maybe, but I don't know if the power boosts are really going to be necessary in anything. Although it does allow your Hive Queens to get over Andromedas, so that's a big thing to keep in mind. Ninja Pumpkin's kind of cool, but if it's tapped, they have to kill it first. So it's decent, but I wish it was like a 4 for 5,000. But either way, it's still not a card that's going to see play. Striding Hearthward keeps things from really being banished, so you can get around effects like Grudge Weaver or whatnot, but no. Transforming Totem, no. I mean, it's just because it's a 5 for 3,000, there's better things that you're going to be doing on turn 5 than sprouting and then waiting for it to die to sprout itself, so... Wild Growth. This card is probably really bad. Hey, it's a Shield Blast. I'm going to -3 now. But the only place I could possibly see this being used at all is once Cordia's on board. You could put things in mana for Cordia to play. But even at that, it's a long shot. I don't expect to see that happen. Into the dual civs, we have Calamity Bell. 6 Shield Blast. They discard a card at random and then tap all creatures that are lower level than the card that they discarded. I really like this card. We have Quartz. We have more random Civ vanillas. If we finally start getting Storm Patrol support, which I expected to have already, but I guess eventually it'll happen. At that point, this guy will probably be pretty good. Serpents from the structure deck as well is going to be pretty awesome. When another of your creatures is banished, can't talk today, sorry, you can put the top card of your deck into your shields. So alongside things like Ripper Reaper, you can Ripper, pop off a Grudge Weaver, they pop off a creature, discard a card, you get a new shield, etc. And it's a dragon, so you're going to get bird support if you choose to play it in some sort of dragon variant. So I definitely like this card. I definitely expect it to see play. Similar Sire Puppet as far as discarding deck goes. um, and random discarding effects go, between this guy and the set premiere light dark guy for 6, a lot of this random discard effects I'm really liking. Um, it's more likely to mess things up for the opponent. So I'm a little psyched about this guy. I will probably test him in something. I just like the idea of random discard with a decent body that's relatively early in the game. You go Mesmerize into Spire Puppet. You could go into Maddening Whispers for turn 5, and then at like a turn 6 Razorkinder Puppet. Hell, turn 2 you could have Spectre Claw. So you have a complete progression for discard effects at this point. Then we have 2 Light Dark Enforcers. If the Enforcer deck were to tech in another color, they could potentially go dark now. Stingwing I don't like just because it's a blocker skirmisher. If it wins, it dies. Targusher's not bad though. It's a Slayer, and when it dies, you get to tap something down. Targusher is definitely worthwhile to play if going dual civ and something like Light Rush is going to happen. Targusher would be a really good reason to go Light Dark. Unfortunately, right now, with that being the only Light Dark, it's going to be difficult to play like Bone Blades and Mesmerize, which I think would be the other dark cards you would choose to play because they're still low enough cost. And you don't want to put Dark in because then you're going to shut off your Prison Blade Enforcers and such. So at this point, I'm still going to say no on it. But in the future, it could potentially be a very good piece in combining Darkness into Light Rush. Zoltara, we had spoiled a couple days ago. Enters the battle zone, your guys get blocker. And then they choose and discard a card. It's not bad, but I would rather be playing the new set Premier Promo or Razorkinder Puppet or something. Oh, I guess this guy is better than Razorkinder Puppet, but I'd rather be playing the new 6-drop guy rather than this. Light Fire, a lot of this is okay, I guess. This guy is a no. All your creatures get blocker when he's played, and you get to kill something with 2,000 power. But 6 for 3,000 is a definite no-go. Blitzer Mech Falcora, along with Metal Max here. A 4, and then this guy's a 2-drop 3,500 vanilla. Those 2 guys, plus like a playset of Heliflame, could make a very good addition to Mono Light Rush, if you can find room. I mean, the issue with that deck is primarily room. You need everything to be Enforcers, but you're already not playing Enforcers as far as your Shock Gnaws and Keeper of Laws go. I guess potentially if you were trying to build Light Rush relatively cheap, you didn't have Keeper of Laws, and you were already not liking spending $10 a piece on Prism Blade or the Spark Blade Protectors, you could definitely add in this fire route, assuming you already have the Heliflames, because they're even $7 a piece cards. But between Heliflames, Blitzer, and Metal Max, I could see a merging of fire and light. You're still probably not going to go any further with other Dracons, but just those. Maybe even Jet Thrust Darters, because it's another fast attacker. But if you went that whole route, there's 12 fire cards, 6 that are dual civs, 6 that are standard civ, that can make a new addition to a potential Light Rush deck. So that's something to just keep in mind. Flamewing Phoenix attacks at 5k. When it dies, it becomes a shield. I like that sort of recursion protection ability of it, but I really don't think it's going to see any play. Plasma Pincer, 3 for 5k attacking that untaps itself. I mean, okay, it's new races, but I'm still pretty much going to say no on this. We got another Storm Patrol thing, which is, again, reasons I'm really wanting to see more Storm Patrol support in the future, especially with these dual civ stuff. It opens up a lot of options, but right now it's still just not worth it. If it's banished, it kills something 2,000 power or less, and it's a blocker 3 for 3. Not horrible, but not great either. We got another Quartz, Sunstrike. Choose a creature 5,000 power or less. It dies. Otherwise, it taps and doesn't untap. So again, with another Lyra effect, but not a card that I expect to see a lot of play. I'm also not a fan of most of our water-fire support. Aqua Trooper here, 5 for 2 that attacks at 5, and if it dies, it bounces. Not recursion that's worthwhile in any way, shape, or form. 4 for 1,000 fast attack that lets you draw. Again, I really don't think so. However, it does give us another Undertow Engine and Burn Belly. 2 races that don't see support. It's just cool to see the races, but the card itself is pretty much definitely a no-go. If this thing was Cyberlord Drakon, it would be amazing. But the Trench Hunter part sort of saddens me. I mean, if you wanted to go back to the Drakon plus Dendrites and Neuron type deck, that will definitely help as far as filling in mana and having early bait for the Drakons. But I'm just saddened that we don't have the Cyberlord Drakon out of Flamevent Diver. Yet another Quartz. Kha'Zix was spoiled a couple days ago. Potentially can get really freaking huge and get Triple Breaker based off things like your turn draw and Logo Scan and Titronus and whatnot. Marblurpa. Enter the battle zone, draw. Enter the battle zone, banish 2,000 or less. 6 for 3k. Again, I'm going to say no. Earth Eater, that's also a new type here. We got a new 4 Shield Blast. Scalding Scourge. Choose a creature, 3,000 or less banish, otherwise bounce. It gives a couple different little options, I suppose. I mean, you could kill off little things like birds and rush strategies, or you could be bouncing bigger threats for 4. I like the variance in it, but I think this is one of the cards that we're going to have to see if it sees play or how it sees play once this new post-Shattered meta is established. Then we have a 3 for 2,000 when it's banished. You can bounce something. It's alright, but I don't expect to see anything out of it. Water Natures. Blocker guard 3 for 4,000. Charges itself when it dies. Not bad. Crystallize. You get to bounce something and then your opponent charges something. I would much rather be playing Grip of Despair, bounce and force them to discard rather than bounce and help their mana progression. Kaijudo, we've seen. Great card. I don't expect to see this played in 3s. Definitely 1-ofs and everything with blue and green. Probably 2-ofs with the way the right decks are built. Lore Strider, I'm a little psyched for. Just as a 4 for 4. It's a 4 for 4 Aqua Seneschal that charges when it dies. So you get a lot of good things going on with this. Definitely worth its cost. It is part Cyberlord, which is great for that particular strategy. Spirit Totem still underdone, but 4 for 4 is better than like the 3 for 2 Seneschals that draw. But it also charges itself, so I actually like this card a lot, and sort of psyched to see where it ends up seeing play at. Yet another Quartz, and then we have a Cyberlord Beastkin. I do like the dual race there, but it's 6 for 3. I'm not too happy about that. But you get to draw when it enters the battle zone, and you get to sprout when it enters the battle zone. So we have 2 completely separate enter the battle zone effects. I do really like that. But right now I'm not sold on 6 for 3,000 on it. Especially as this particular race combination doesn't happen in mainstay decks right now. We did get very little Megabug support, this being one of, I think, 2 in the set, which I'm sort of saddened about. But Squall Darter, 4 for a 4,000 attacker, but it can't be blocked. It's just going to turn around and die. It potentially is going to help with mana curves, but I still don't think Megabugs are going to use it. Aqua and Beastkin, 2 for 3,000. That's not bad, especially if you like those fun deck challenges like we've seen people doing Rotworms and stuff. I think I've seen one person do like the Aquean deck because they have their, what is it, Crystal Paladin or whatever type card. Now we have that 2-drop bait. That also helps if you wanted to be playing the Beastkins and Sabertooths alongside of it. This could be a decent card to really merge those archetypes together. More Quartz. Creature gets minus 2,000 power till the end of turn. I definitely don't like that. As far as the 6 Shield Blast, you get the Sprout as well, but I still don't think that's worth 6. I mean, if it's a Shield Blast, I guess it's okay. You might be able to take out a bird or something and then get to Sprout. Or if it's early against like a Drakon or Mono White, matchup. But if I were to draw it, it's not something I ever want to have to cast, which means I'm going to throw it in mana, and then it's going to be stuck there for the turn because it's going to go untapped. So I'm not really set on that right now. Goop Striker I do really like. A Slayer that charges itself when it dies. This card is freaking nuts. You're going to be able to get over things like Immolator and other things that you don't want to be able to target. You can take out Keeper of Laws, and then you're going to get a shield. Or not a shield, but an extra mana off of it. I'm kind of psyched to see this guy see play as sort of that early game sort of rush and or late game sort of protection strategy, being that Slayer that's going to give you extra mana. We have another evil toy here that's a blocker guard. If it blocks, you get the Sprout. It's okay, but 4 for 3, up in the air. Right now I'm going to say no. Dreadmask, I think, is a new race alongside Beastkin here. Skirmisher, and when it wins a battle, you can Dark Return. So that's not bad. It's 5 for 6. You're getting more than you're paying for, but it is a Skirmisher. I don't expect it to see play, but it's not bad. In dark green decks, you're going to be playing like Necros and Cordia anyways, so I think this guy gets a little redundant. Obsidian Death, we've already seen. When another creature's banished, you can Sprout. It's not bad as a 6/6 double breaker, but I'm not sold on its playability just yet. And then the other Mega Bug is a 6 for 3. I really don't like. When it enters the battle zone, they discard, and when it enters the battle zone, you get to Sprout. So another of these battle mages that have 2 different enter the battle phase or enter the battle zone effects. But a 6 for 3, I'm really not sold on this guy at all. I do not like it. Then we have a Spectre Beastkin 4 for 5k vanilla. Then we have some stuff we know, some stuff we don't. King Alberon. At the start of each of your turns, you get to look at the top card of your deck, and if you want to, you can put them on the bottom of your deck. I actually really like this effect, that foresight ability to either know what's coming next, or if it's something you know you don't need, you can get it out of the way so you can try and get into something you do. And then whenever you cast a spell, you can bounce an opposing creature that's level is the same level as the spell you cast. That's a little difficult. I mean, you have things like Gloom Hollow. That's the first 3-cost mainstay card that I see that comes to mind. When you play something like Mesmerize, you can bounce to Gloom Hollow. If you play something like Logo Scan, you can bounce to Gloom Hollow. If you play Piercing Judgment, you get to tap something, bounce something, and then bounce, I don't know, Keeper of Laws, I guess. I don't know, maybe they only have laws, so you tap the law, bounce your own Keeper of Dawn or something, and then bounce it. Nothing else that's level 4 really coming to mind right now. If you're playing the new Whispers, they discard 2 thing. You could do that and bounce a Wave Lancer. There's really not a lot of 7s right now. If you were to see this guy in a mirror, and you play something like Terror Pit or Root Trap, you can bounce their King Alberon, which is nice. I've noticed from the last 2 hours or so on Dojo, people don't really like this card. I do. Similarly, people don't like White Strider Ramnoth that got spoiled about a week ago. Both of these cards, you guys can hate all you want. While you're focused on Kalimas and Havens, I'm going to pick them up for, 20, 25 bucks a playset. And if that means I sit on them for a while, so be it. I think they're really fun cards. I think they have a lot of potential, even now, but I know they're only going to grow in potential. So it's definitely cards I'm going to pick up cheap here early while people's focuses are on Haven, Kalima, and Twilight Archon. Forge Lord Vesuvius. Double Breaker, 7 for 6. If it wins a battle, you can discard your hand, and if you do, draw 5 cards. Keep in mind that you have to discard at least 1 card for this effect to work. You can't just draw 5 off of 0. Unfortunately, it's a 7 for 6 that isn't attacking until turn 8. Unless you have some other fast attack effect like Heretic Prince Varaka on board. Fire having the ability to recharge hands could be really interesting. I could potentially see this guy as maybe a one-of alongside decks that are playing triple Varaka, but we'll see where that goes. Twilight Archon, we all know the card's going to be nuts. Dragon Knight Valoran, I think this guy's extremely underpowered. He's a 9 for 7,000 that attacks at 11,000, so it's not even going to get you over Andromeda. But it does have fast attack, and at the end of each of your turns that it's tapped, you get to charge a new shield. I pretty much think what's going to happen with this guy, you're going to play him. For 9 or less, he is part dragon, so your birds are going to work. You're going to play him, you're going to swing over something, or potentially swing into shields. At the end of your turn, you're going to charge a new shield, and your opponent's going to turn around and kill it. So it's kind of like playing a 9, kill something, get a new shield. I mean, in one sense, it's kind of worth it, and it does have fast attack. But I think it's just, it feels underpowered. I mean, if it was level 8 for 7,000 plus 4,000, I think it would play out much better in my mind. I do like the card. I'll probably pick up a set to have, maybe toy around with, but I'm not sold on it being really mainstay in any new strategies for this set. I'm sure Greed Dragon variants may take use of it just to get that extra shield. If you're far enough ahead in advantage in the game so far already, it's not going to be that difficult for them to not be able to kill it on that return, so that you can just continue to use it. And keep in mind that its shield charge effect is optional, so if it's really late game and you're running low on cards, you don't have to charge the shield. I do like it, but I'm not sold on it being mainstay competitive right now. Heretic Prince Varaka is probably my favorite card in the set right now. All of your guys get fast attack, and then you have to bounce a creature at the end of every turn. So I plan on reusing this with things like Lyra a lot, or potentially with that tech Forge Lord Vesuvius. If it gets to the point where my hand's really small, I can drop Forge Lord, swing over something, discard the next to nothing in my hand, draw 5 new ones, and then bounce the Forge Lord. To then either charge the next turn or hold on to it until my hand's small again, and I want to reuse that recharge effect. Boran, we have another like bottle randomized card here. 8 for 9, Double Breaker. When another one of your creatures, or this creature, is banished, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a non-evolution creature, it goes to the battle zone. If not, you add it to your hand. I really like the card. I'm sort of excited to see where it's going to go. I know some people are iffy on all these random, type effects like this, but R&D's told us they love them. We know Bottle's not going away. This guy won't either. But you could pretty much whiff into something worthless as well, so always keep that in mind. And finally, we all know and love Cordia. This card, alongside like Kurigar, is going to be nuts for the upcoming format. With Kurigar and Necros, Nature and Darkness are going to go together really well with these things. I'm a little underimpressed with the rest of the Darkness, Nature, Dual Civ stuff that we have to work with right now. But either way, I mean, you're going to be playing all the standard dark stuff. You're going to be playing standard ramp. You're going to be playing Kurugars, and now you're going to be playing this guy. Your graveyard becomes mana, and then he starts summoning your mana. It's absolutely amazing. So anyways, that's just sort of my ramble as we've gone through the entire set here over the last 28.5 minutes. So let me know what you guys think. Comment or subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.